Hey everybody, thanks for coming back. Gonna check out a video from Biden who put up a he addressed the nation last night about him dropping out of the 2024 race. So we're gonna check it out. I have seen a few clips of this. I haven't seen it in its entirety, but I figure I'll just check it out with you and let you know my thoughts on it. So let's take a listen.
My fellow
Oh, there he goes.
Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president.
Has it?
But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think is more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people. But this sacred task of perfecting our union is not about me. It's about you, your families, your futures.
Okay, I'm sorry. First off, he's talking about democracy and it's sacred, but what they're doing is not democratic. If he was going to drop out, he needed to do it a lot sooner. The only reason he's doing it is because all the polls are showing that he's getting crushed by Donald Trump. That's why he's pulling out of the race and putting Kamala up. Now, I said in my previous video that the only reason they got Kamala in there is because of the fact that they cannot hold another primary to elect a different candidate. There's not enough time for them, and it's still not democratic. I don't think. I know they've got certain rules and they're playing off of other things, but for me, there's no way that you can have a candidate who's been nominated through the primary and then just drop out and let the VP go in. The VP, who, by the way, when she was running for president back in 2020, had less than 1% of that primary vote. She didn't even win her home state, but yet she's going to be put forward as the candidate for the 2024 election. It's crazy to me, and I don't think there's anything democratic about it.
It's about we, the people. And we can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate.
Moving forwards or backwards, you're the one that's. Oh my gosh. Okay. This guy has put us into another recession. Worse than what Obama did back in 2008. This is nuts how he just gaslights everything and says that he's been doing a great job for the last 4 years, 3.5. Yet nobody can afford groceries. Gas is high. And I make a decent living, but even at the wage that I make, I started to struggle. I've had to dip into savings just to afford groceries and basic necessities. That's not the American dream. You let me know. I don't think he's done anything worthwhile.
Between unity and division, we have to decide, do we still believe in honor?
Okay, I'm sorry. Unity and division. He was part of the Obama administration, and I'm going to tell you right now, the division in this country started when Obama got elected. That's this country has been on the right track for a very long time. There's a lot of stuff in this country's history that is terrible and awful and just should have never happened. But the American experiment that has been taking place, we were on a good track. Things were going good. Then Obama came in, talked about unity. He was a very good speaker, okay? And he spoke to the American people and what they thought was right. That as soon as he got in, then the division started happening. Nobody, nobody talked about it more than he did.
Honesty, decency, respect, freedom, justice, and democracy. In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that? Does character in public life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions because I know you, the American people. And I know this: we are a great nation because we are good people. When you
The first thing I agree with it that he said, we are a good nation because we are good people. I agree with that. For the most part, a lot of people are good, decent, hardworking people. I agree with that.
elect me to this office, I promise to always level with you, to tell you the truth.
He promises to always level with us and tell us the truth. But I watched the debate between him and Donald Trump. I don't remember a single thing that he said that was the truth. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember anything that he said that was factual or truthful. I remember lie after lie after lie after lie.
And the truth, the sacred cause of this country, is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause, cherish it so much, a cause of American democracy itself, must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition.
Personal ambition. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know the exact reason why he's dropping out, but I have a lot of speculations. One of them being that the fact that, I've already said it, I'm going to say it again, he's polling so terribly against Donald Trump that they forced him to drop out of this race. I don't think that he would have if they didn't force him. I think they told this guy straight up that if he didn't drop out of the race, they were going to invoke the 25th and he would just be ousted. I think he's doing it just to save face, and that his party told him that he had to do this or else.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Again, that's speculation.
That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. But there's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now. Over the next 6 months.
Younger voices. He said for months that he wasn't going to be dropping out. And then he straight up told Kamala that she wasn't going to endorse her if he did drop out. And then 30 minutes to an hour later, he went ahead and did it anyway. Wonder who wrote his speech.
I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights.
Okay, he's going to do it. Well, the administration, I don't think him personally, but they're going to lower the cost of some things because the election's right around the corner. It's coming up. September's early voting. It's going to happen. We're going to turn around, and there it is. They're going to start lowering the cost of things. I got gas yesterday. I saw it come down a little bit more yesterday. But I expected that because there's the election's coming up, and they want people to realize hey, we're saving you money at the pump. Look, we're going to lower prices on food, make it a little bit more emphasize on a little bit more affordable because they can't do too much. But we'll see.
From the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period.
No place for political violence. This from the guy that, this is a quote, said that we need to put him, meaning Donald Trump, in a bullseye. Now I know that's, he didn't mean it literally and to go shoot Donald Trump. I know that. But when you've got him and his political party saying things like Trump is Hitler, Hitler rhetoric comes nothing but Hitler rhetoric. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Nothing but Hitler rhetoric comes out of this man's mouth, meaning Donald Trump. What do you expect is going to happen? These people have been bashing Trump every chance they get, every single day. And people watch them, and what do they expect is going to happen? People are just going to, oh yeah, he's Hitler, he's bad. Somebody at some point was going to try and do what they did.
I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence, our planet from climate crisis that is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it. And I'm going to call for...
This really is a personal opinion. I think they could have solved the cancer problem a long time ago, but it's too much of a big money maker for the pharmacy industry. That's just my opinion. Not saying that's fact. Not saying that's anything other than just my opinion. I don't think that they want to solve a lot of the medical issues that we have in the world. It's too much money for them.
Supreme Court reform, because this is critical to our democracy. Supreme Court reform. You know,
Supreme Court reform is not necessary for the country.
America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world.
Wait, did he say the U.S. is not at war with the world? Anywhere in the world?
You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world.
Okay. The United States may, per se, not be entailed in a war, but what do you call it when we're sending, what was it, $60 billion to Ukraine already? We may not be involved, but we're sure sending a lot of our taxpayer money to them to stay not involved in that war. Oh my gosh, give me a break. Under Donald Trump's 4 years as president, there was no new wars. None. Nobody wants to talk about that. He brought peace to the Middle East, started no new wars, and the Afghanistan pullout that Joe Biden totally jacked up. Just beyond belief. I could go into a lot of details about that, but I'm sure everybody's already heard about all of it. Donald Trump was the one that scheduled the pullout from Afghanistan. All Biden had to do was follow the plan. He couldn't even do that because it was Trump's plan. He had to go and jack it all up. And just, oh, what a nightmare that was. 13 service members killed. We left a lot of people over there too. So
we'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage.
Look, Trump's already come out and said that he can stop that war, and I believe him. When he says he can come out and stop that war before he even, as the presidential elect, he said he could stop that war. I believe him because he didn't start no new wars and everything I said just before.
We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any.
NATO is not needed. Okay, we are not America. We're not the world's police. NATO does not pay their fair share into what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to pay into their fair share so that we have the money, so that if something does happen with the NATO countries, that we have the money and resources to go and protect those countries that are a part of NATO. But nobody paid their fair share.
Any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working.
That's not the case anymore. China hasn't. He's done nothing but empower China. Lie after lie. Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
End the war in Gaza. Bring home all the hostages. And bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war.
That should have already happened.
We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world.
Again, should have already happened.
You know, we've come so far since my inauguration.
We've gone backwards.
I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in a century. The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
As far as the pandemic goes, it was on the downslope. Pretty sure. And then you brought out vaccine mandates, more closures. Big box stores got to stay open, but mom and pop shops were still closed. All you had to do was open stuff back up by the time you came back into office. Didn't do it. Calling the unvaccinated the real threat, and Dad, don't even get me started on that crap.
The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. We came together as Americans, and we got through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. Today we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly 16 million new jobs, a record.
A vast majority of those jobs were just jobs put back into place after you lifted all the COVID crap. I cannot stand the fact that he takes credit for creating 16 million new jobs when the vast majority of them were jobs that were put back into place when people could go back to work. They weren't. Okay, and then you hired. I forget the exact number. There's a crap ton of IRS people that were hired on. It was a crap ton, and a lot of it was government jobs and jobs coming back from COVID. That's not a boast. A lot of people don't know that though.
Wages are up. Inflation continues to come down. The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities.
How's it less? People still can't afford groceries, Joe. How's it less?
Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions.
More people have health care in the United States now than ever because of Obamacare, and that was a crapshoot too. I'm not going to get into that though.
Millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today, the violent crime rate is at a 50-year low.
That's not accurate. That stat is them taking out big liberal cities that have high crime rates to pad the numbers. Crime rates are extremely high right now in places like Chicago and California, because they take those liberal cities that have not done anything, Chicago, you basically can't even own a gun, but yet they have the highest crime rate in the nation, and one of, I can't say for sure if it's the top, but I know it's up there. Crime rates are beyond belief in these major liberal cities, and they take those numbers out of that so that they can pad that stat and say that crime is way down when it's really not.
We're also securing our border. Border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office.
That is a lie. I cannot believe he just said that. Border crossings are lower now than the previous administration? What are we up to? It's somewhere between 7 million and 10 million crossings. And those are just the ones that we know of. How do you come out here and say the border crossings are less now than the previous administration? Who's he trying to fool? Nobody's going to believe that. Everybody knows about the border crisis. Who's going to believe that lie? That is insane.
I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
Yeah, get your DEI in there.
I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Now he's just quoting.
We've never fully lived up to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either.
I agree with that part,
And
but he's
I
just
do not
quoting.
believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice.
Let's be clear. He didn't make that choice. They made it for him. He can say that he made that choice all he wants, but we all know he didn't make that choice. And honestly, I don't think he was making the choices before. I personally think that his wife wants to stay in power. I think his wife is calling a lot of the shots. She wants to stay in power. That's just what I think, though. Who knows?
Made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President Kamala Harris.
Of course.
She's experienced. She's tough. She's capable.
She's capable of a lot of things, like sleeping with a mayor, and so that she can get appointed to a judge spot. And she's capable of, the Summer of Love, raising money to bail out, criminals that were burning down the streets. She's capable of that.
She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office, alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on,
But don't slip it now. You've been doing good.
Have given America a monarchy, a republic. Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, if you can keep it. Whether we keep our republic is now in your hands. My fellow Americans, it's been
I like
a
how he switched to a
privilege
republic
of my
instead
life
of democracy.
to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter, from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claymont, Delaware, one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But here I am. That's what's so special about America.
There you
We're
are.
a nation of promise and possibilities, of dreamers and doers,
6 more months,
of
anyway.
ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return the love and support of the American people.
Million times
I hope you have some
money
idea
wise.
how grateful I am to all of you. The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not.
How long has he been in office? Not presidency. I mean, in civil service, in the public eye. Well, he was in his early 30s, I think, wasn't he? Has he ever had an actual job other than politics? Somebody let me know. I don't think he has. I think he's been funded by the taxpayers his whole life. I could be wrong. Maybe he has had a job. I don't think he has, though. Even if he did have a job, it was so long ago. This guy's in his 80s, so it made a fortune in being in politics.
Rule, the people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
Well, he praised Kamala a little bit. Not as much as I thought he would have, though. Given that he's backed her being the presidential candidate now. I expected him to boast her up a lot more than what he did. I wonder who wrote that speech. Again, I said that before, but I do. I wonder who wrote that speech and why he's not putting more weight behind Kamala if he thinks that she's the right person for it. I know she's getting a lot of backing and support from the other Democrats now. I know before I said that I wasn't sure if she was going to be the candidate. I don't know how they could replace her, being how she was on the ticket when Biden got the nomination through the primaries. So I don't know how they would have been able to replace her with anybody else. And she actually was on the ticket. That's the only viable option. I still don't think it's right, but who knows? But hey, thanks for watching. There's a lot of stuff that he said I don't agree with. The only thing I think I agreed with the whole speech is when he was quoting. That's about it. So, but thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you thought. Thanks.